This is Mark from SMPostcards again, the best place to learn about postcard reselling. I'm a full-time reseller and I sell postcards on eBay, Etsy, and HipPostcard. Today I have a lot of stuff to go over. Again, I'm going to go through what postcards sold on eBay and Etsy and HipPostcards. For anybody that's new here, I usually go through the different cards that sell just to show the variety of different cards to look for when you go out to the antique malls, flea markets, garage sales, buying lots, etc. What to look for and I'll show you the front of the card, back of the card, and what it sold for and where it is being shipped to, so you get a good idea. I found that's the best way to answer the question that I get all the time: what postcard should I look for? What postcards sell? By watching these videos, you can see all the different varieties and types of postcards that people are buying. Not just what I sell and the money, it's what people are looking for and what they're buying. I sold 12 cards on eBay, or basically 11 cards, and then I have one other special item that we sell in the postcard store that I'll show you as well. And then I had 3 cards sell on Etsy. I had 0 cards sold on Hip. So I have a special topic today of a type of postcard that's kind of unique, and I see a lot of them, different ones out there, and those are embroidered postcards. So I have an example and a little definition of what those types of postcards are and what to look for. Also with postcards, when you're learning postcards, if you've been doing it a long time, you always want to refresh yourself on the postcard terminology, the postcard speak, as I say, the different terms used when they talk about collecting and studying postcards. I have another term today with a definition to go over. Instead of a short video today, I have 3 viewer comments that came in that I thought would be a good conversation part of this video. Now I'm going to go ahead and start going through the cards that I sold on eBay. The first card that sold is Star Motel in Greenville, Tennessee. As you can see, it's just basically a chrome card, probably from the 50s or 60s of the Star Motel. It's a nice kept card, clean, sharp edges. And if you notice, the sign is right there. Whenever you have any kind of signs, road signs, Route 66, different signs, those help sell the cards. But this card's unposted. It is going to David in Bon Aqua, Tennessee. And it's sold for $4, which is probably an offer to the buyer. Our normal price is $4.45, free shipping, and we send out offers all day long, 10%. Whenever they pop up in eBay, we send them out. So $4 is an offer to the buyer, and he accepted it. And that's what you want to do with these chrome cards, is you want to move the volume of these types of cards. And then intermix with these cards some of your higher value cards that are going to sit for a little while for people to make decisions. But sending offers out triggers the people, to buy that card. They're interested in it. Give them that little extra push. Get your card sold. Next card that sold was the Lions. And this is at the San Francisco Zoo, California. But there's 3 lions, big male lions, 1, 2, 3. There's a lion, there's a lion, there's a lion. I got into a lot of cards that I bought, and they had a lot of zoo, a lot of animal ones, and I was excited to do those because those normally sell. They're not really high price cards, but anytime you have animals, make sure you put the city and the zoo that they're in the state. As people collect those, they do different things. Teachers use them for classes, they use them for crafts, or just to show their kids, or just to keep. But that's a nice chrome card. Again, this card's very well kept. There's no scratches on it. It's unposted. This sold for $4.45, and it's going to Monterey, California. The next card that sold is one that I've sold a lot of, and they seem to do pretty well. It's the Hotel del Coronado in California. That's a chrome card. As you can see, it's shiny, it's unposted, nice crisp, solid, crisp card, and that's the hotel right there. But a lot of the Hotel Coronados, Del Coronado hotels, whenever I put them up, they usually sell pretty well. And one of my friends says the same thing, is Del Coronado. He actually looks for Del Coronado when he goes out because they move pretty quick. Not saying that they will for you, but every ones that I put up, they don't sit that long. And people, I think, have a search term for Del Coronado. This card sold for $4.45, which is full price. It's going to Lisa in Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you, Lisa. Go ahead and do a couple more items here that's sold on eBay, and then I'll get into the special topic about the embroidered postcards, and I have a term to go over and some viewer comments later in the video, so stick with me. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button so you'll get the notification, and hit the little bell icon. Gives you a notification when we put new videos up. But the next item is not a postcard. We also sell different things in our postcard store just to supplement and give the people a full department store type thing. They can come in and buy different things. These are actually vintage magazine ads cut out of magazines. These I think came from Time. These are Darling or Coswell Ruin cedar chest. This is probably from the 60s or 50s, but they're cedar chest, and we take the magazine ads, we put them on a hard backing and put them in a sleeve specially made for this type of card. And if you notice, I have an inventory sticker on everything. Our video about inventory, if you go take a look at that, it'll explain how we use those inventory numbers. But this sold for $6.75, and shipping is $3.75 for these, so a total $11.21 for a piece of paper on a cardboard. But this means a lot to someone, or they're going to frame it. It's ready to be framed. We just put it in there. We put a little 3 pieces of Scotch tape along the back. Very easy to deal with. And I'll go ahead and show you how we pack these up. First thing we do is we take off the inventory sticker. I never want to send anything to a customer that they're not going to use or see, so that's what it looks like. Just like the small envelopes, we carry the larger rigid mailers, which is the same 250 GSM, how they grade them, and we put a piece of cardboard inside that's cut from a Walmart box. We have about 50 or 60 of these always on hand, already made up. So when one sells, we just got to take this, we stick it down inside. I usually put the front of the picture part toward the cardboard in the middle, so it's protected from the outside. And that's what it looks like, all sealed up. And then I'll take and print out a first class sticker for this. It goes right here, and that'll ship out in the next day mail. Very easy to do. I've had good results with these. They are a long tail item. Long tail means it takes a while to sell, but I might have $1 into this whole thing in there, but it does take a little bit more prep time for someone to cut the cardboard and the cost of the envelope, so that's why the price is a little higher than a postcard, but they do sell, and there's a lot of magazines out there, and I enjoy them with these. Gives the customer, we probably have about 500-600 of those online with that. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more cards, and then I'll get into the special topic of embroidered postcards. The next card I just listed the other day as I remembered it, because it kind of looked like Bebby Rubble from the Flintstones. But this is Vacation of a Lifetime at Jacksonville Beach, Florida. So it's kind of a comic card, but it is actually a tourist card. And she looks like Betty Rubble, but she's not. But it's got the husband, wife, and son. Kind of a different type of vacation card, tourist card. It's on a lighter stock, so it's a tourist card for Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Now the title I used for this one was Postcard Vacation of a Lifetime. I kind of took that off the title here. At Jacksonville Beach, Florida. So what triggered this is probably Jacksonville Beach, Florida, and also the nice scan. The colors probably picked up and pushed the person to buy that card. They paid $4.45 for it, and it is going to Jacksonville Beach, Florida. The next card is a St. Thomas card from the Caribbean Islands. This is Charlotte Amalie. It's a view from the St. Thomas Trailway, and I did put that in the title because that's what it said on the card, and it is, how did they get that aerial shot on there? But it's a chrome card. Caribbean Islands always do good. Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, all that stuff really, I always look for those types of cards. And this card actually sold for $4.45, and let's see where it's going. A lot of times these will go to the States. It's going to Redding, California. So someone probably traveled there and they want a picture to frame or whatever, a postcard. Like I said, I always send them in a nice sleeve so they're ready to be framed or whatever they want to do with them, or they just want to keep them. And so when a person opens the envelope, you know, they pull it out, it's nice, looks good, good presentation, and hopefully they'll come back and buy some more cards because they know they get a quality presentation. Okay, now I'm going to get into another type of postcard. As you'll see in the videos coming up and some in the past, I have a bunch of different types of postcards that I'm showing people. Sometimes they're in the novelty postcard era types of postcards, or they're just special postcards to look for. And I'll try to go out and look at the prices, but they do fluctuate a lot on some of them. It just depends how elaborate they're put together, how well the card is, the condition, and the appeal to the novelty side or the difference of things. So the type of card I'm going to show you today is called an embroidered card. An embroidered card is a postcards with embroidery. Embroidery is added, so they have stitching onto the card before they put the back on. They stitch thread onto the card. The prices usually range that I found for embroidered cards average. Now there's some higher ones and some lower ones, depends on condition and how elaborate, if they're made out of, you know, silk and stuff like that. But that's its own type is a silk card. But they usually run between $5 and $20 plus shipping. The card I own is a colonial ship right there. Now all the sails are made out of thread. That flag, that flag, that flag, that flag, and that little flag at the top all have thread and that's embroidered into the postcard. And if you look on the back, it's not sewn through. It looks like they did 2 layers to this card. One layer had the embroider in it, and then they put the backing on it on there. But that's an embroidered postcard that you want to look for. This card is not 3.5 by 5.5. It's more of a 3 by 5.5. But that doesn't really matter. This is a really nice card. I picked it up, I think at a antique mall for like $2, and I've had it for a while. But just all the sales are on there. A lot of times that I see embroidered cards, it's usually the Spanish senoritas with the flowing dress. I've seen flags and just different things, collars on animals. But you want to look for the embroidered things, and it'll give you a few extra dollars on there, or just nice to keep and collect is the embroidered postcards. They've done a real good job on some of them. This is really well done. All the little detail, even the little flag at the top and right there is embroidered, where if they mass produced these and didn't do a good job, they would just skip that little spot. But this company didn't do that. So that's embroidered postcard. Now I'll go ahead and do show you some more postcards that sold on eBay and Etsy, and then I'll get into the term. Remember, postcard terminology is a key to ramping up and learning about postcards and selling them or just collecting them. But this next card is from Key Biscayne. It's the Cape Florida Lighthouse, southwest corner of Key Biscayne, Florida. That's the lighthouse right there, and it says Key Biscayne. But I put what it is. Even though it said Key Biscayne, I went and read the title, and it's the Cape Cod, Florida Lighthouse. It's a chrome card, really hard, solid card, not a problem with it. This sold for $4, so it was probably, it is a offer to a buyer, and it is being shipped to Miami, Florida. So someone down in Florida knows of that lighthouse and they wanted this card. Next card, it actually sold for $4.45 full price. It's the Mesa Verde National Park, Colorado. So this is a national park card. A lot of people won't post these because they feel that they're really mass produced. This actually came out of a souvenir book, because you can see the bottom is serrated and the top is serrated. So this is probably a fold out book of postcards that you buy at the souvenir stand, and they cut this out. It's a chrome card. It's unposted, but that's the national park there. It's just basically what they call a view card, and it sold for $4.45, and it's going to Jamie and Cortez, Colorado. Now a lot of people say, what did people do with postcards back in the day? There was an article I read a while ago where they said the women of the family back in the early 1900s were the ones that collected postcards, and they would sit around at night and go, and that was their conversation piece. They didn't have TV, Nintendo, Netflix. That's what they did. They went through postcards. They actually said between 2 and 4 billion postcards were sent in some of those years back then, but the number is kind of elusive a little bit, because people were, to save on postage and stuff, they would put 4 or 5 postcards into an envelope and mail it. So they just had a guess about how many postcards were actually sent around. But that's, in the family, was the wives were the ones that kept and collected the postcards, and they would send them back and forth. There was a lot of postcard clubs that they would send cards back and forth. Hey, I need this one from this date or whatever, like a pen pal back in the day. But that's how people entertained themselves back in the day, is with postcards. Or if they went on a vacation, they stopped, they stuck a stamp on it, say, I'm here, you know, and stuff like that. And the mail back then was probably, I don't know how long it took back then, maybe not as long as it does now, but you know, people, that's how they communicated, was on postcards. And there's a lot of history around postcards and collecting back in those days, and what they did with the, you know, 1903 they come out with a camera to do the real photo postcards. Those are really interesting. I plan to get into a little bit more of those, but there's just so many out there. Now, real photo postcards should be one of a kind, and I'll be doing a video on how to identify real photo postcards and kind of what to look for. But I usually stay in the divided back, white border, linen, and chrome eras. That's really where I've been working for a while, in those eras. But I will pick up the undivided backs or RPPCs if I see them, and I also pick up the postcards or the Pioneer cards if I see them. But I mainly look for from divided back to present. But I don't do the Continental cards. They just don't seem to sell for me as much, and the jumbo cards and stuff. But that's a little bit about postcards. One more card that's sold on eBay, and then I'll get into the terminology, one of the terms that I picked to go over today on there. So this card is a nice looking card. It's the Millie's Fountain in Union Station, St. Louis, Missouri. And that's the fountain right there. This is a souvenir card. It's just a lighter, I can just feel it by knowing that it's a newer card. It's really shiny, but it's on a lighter card stock. When you feel a card, after a while, you're going to know that, hey, this is an older card, just the way the paper feels. But I always put the word Union Station. If it's a Union Station, you want to get that into the title, because I saw a lot of cards and the normal thing on there is Union Station. And this is, the title was Postcard, Millie's Fountain, Union Station, St. Louis, Missouri. So I spelled out the state, I put the city, I put Union Station, I put the name of the fountain, and I put postcard in the front. Now the postcard in the front, that's for me to do reports more than anything, because you're already in the postcard category. But keywords, you want to really key on the keywords, what's going to trigger people's searches. They have saved searches. People have had those for years out there. They've been buying postcards on eBay for years, and Etsy, and they have searches, or they'll go in and put their state, or they'll go in and put Union Station, and if it pops up they're interested, then the card sells. What triggers a card to sell? Could be price, could be an impulse, it could be the condition of the card, it could be your service. Do you ship in one day? Do you offer returns? Is it price to sell? There's just so many factors, so you want to get the edge on the next card that popped up like this. Why did my card sell before anybody else? Just take a look at the presentation, the service, and get it in front of people. This card sold for $4.45, and it's going to Robert in Muncie, Indiana. Every video I try to bring up a terminology, postcard terminology term, and today's term that I'm going to go over is called wavy, and I'll put it down here so you can read along with me. What does wavy mean? It's a condition of a postcard. So wavy refers to a specific type of water damage on a postcard where it no longer lays flat. So the postcard's going to be, you know, you put it on a table, it's going to rock, or it's going to be, you know, have bubbles on it and stuff like that. When paper absorbs water, its organic components swell. So anything you add water to paper, it's going to swell. If left to dry without any tension applied. So if you just let it dry, it's gonna, moisture will evaporate from the paper irregular fibers at different rates and shrink unevenly, leaving a wavy surface behind. So when you're describing a postcard, say it's a really nice postcard and you want to put it up but it's a little wavy, that's the term that postcard collectors would probably understand as a wavy card. In the toy world, we call it, curving, warping on the cards of the toys. I've used those terms. But wavy, now I don't list any really wavy cards. Those will go to the fleet. I'll put it in the, I have a box over here that when I'm listing postcards and I see one and the condition is a little questionable, I'll put it in the postcard box. I have a guy that comes out every year when I'm at the flea markets, and he'll buy a whole box for $10 from me, because he knows that there's some condition issues and stuff like that, but he gets to touch them and feel them on there. But if it's a really unique card and stuff and there's a little bit of wavy to it, sometimes just knocking the price down and explaining in the description that it has some waviness to it, we'll sell that card. But very few and far between. But wavy, water damaged cards can be hard to sell, and it's not a good presentation when they get that card out of there and it's not in good shape, unless you sell it for $1 or whatever. Make sure the price is there. But wavy is the term. In every video I'm going to try to come up with a term, and I have a lot of terms that I can pull from. I constantly look at these terms, and by doing these videos I actually refresh myself what they mean, and so I'll probably use wavy again as it reminded me about that. 3 cards left to go over to show you what's sold on eBay. I'll go ahead and finish those up, and then I'll get into some of the, I got 3 viewer comments that came in that I thought were interesting that would help sellers postcards. The next card that I sold on eBay, always pick up those university cards, the 50s, 60s, state universities or whatever. And when you're doing the titles, make sure you get like this one. This is the Student Center at University of Wisconsin, Plattsville. So that's the title I used, because you want to make sure that you got Student Center, University of Wisconsin, Plattsville. So I got the town, I got the University of Wisconsin, and I got Student Center. So it kind of drives it into the people and their searches. But that's a nice chrome card. It's on a lighter stock, so it's probably a more current card. But it's just a picture of the Student Center. So anybody that went to University of Wisconsin, they might collect that just to have memories of their college years, teachers, or whatever. But make sure you get the university and the name, the state, and stuff in there. It will trigger the searches, and these will sell. This is going to Bruce. It's sold for $4.45 full price, and it's going to Plattsville, Wisconsin. So it's going back home. Now this card had a couple different things going with it, and it was kind of hard to come up with an exact title, because it's got cars, Henry Ford, it's got trains. So this is the DeWitt Clinton train in the Henry Ford Museum, Dearborn, Michigan. So when I think of Henry Ford, I think of Ford cars, I don't think of trains. But then it has the DeWitt train. So my title for this one to trigger the searches and people looking for it was Postcard DeWitt Clinton. That's train, that's the name of the train. And then I put Henry Ford Museum, then I put the city and the state, Detroit, Michigan. So it worked. So that's it right there. It's a chrome card. It's a tourist card, souvenir card of people going to the museum to draw people in. But this card sold for $4, which was an offer to a buyer, and it's going to John in Cypress, California. I didn't know a lot about what they meant by natural bridges, Center, but did you know that there's a town in Virginia called Natural Bridge? And that's a natural bridge where animals and people can walk across. It's a rock formation. And there's actually a town called Natural Bridge on there. I always wonder how pioneer people named cities or whatever, but I guess that's a really known natural bridge. And this card is a linen card. I can feel it. Doesn't really have the bright colors on it, but when you feel it, you can feel the higher texture and the rag count of the card on the fiberboard, and that's a linen card because they used fast drying inks and a different process in the 30s. So this is a card sold for $4, and it's going to Brian in Arlington, Virginia. But natural bridges, they do sell. That's a view card, and it does have a walkway along the side here, and it has the water that's going underneath. So nice looking card. And I must reinforce, when I'm going through these what sold, it's not what I sold or the dollars, it's what the people are searching for and buying. That's what you want to key in on these videos, and that's I found this is the best way to show and answer the question, what sells, what should I look for, is just by watching these videos and seeing the different cards people are buying. As you've seen today, I sold a magazine ad, I sold chrome cards, and I sold linen cards. I've sold universities, I've sold mountains, I've sold a natural bridge. So people are all over the board, but you're going to get a repetitious in the postcard selling world is the best thing, because it just reinforces what you're going. So when you go to the flea markets, the garage sales, the antiques, malls, buying lots, you can thumb through them pretty quick and say yeah. And if you can, you're going to sell a majority of those cards in that box, hey, buy the box. You might have some throwaways, but they're, if you're looking for that one card, those 10 cards that are just going to sell for $40, they're few and far between. Most of the places are going to pick through those, and they're going to sell them a little higher. But once in a while, the estate sales is where you're going to find the real good finds. But you're going to pay up a little bit, so you want to pass those costs on there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into the viewer comments and talk a little bit about those. I got 3 of them here that I picked out from the video comments that I replied to. The first one is it says, I see job lots of postcards, so box lots of postcards on eBay, and wondering if you find that these job lots are all low value cards not worth listing, hence reason being sold as a lot on eBay. So there is some lots on eBay that you can get if you're in the lower end, and she is correct, most of them are going to be lower end cards. But what I replied to her is, most likely that they're lower end cards, but check the seller and look at the seller's items for sale and the postcards in their store, and if they're selling postcards, then that box has most likely been picked through for all the best cards. That's the best way I can tell you. Now, when you're buying lots of cards, that's where you buy them for a good price. Your margin is very good when you're buying 1,000, 10,000 cards. But when you're buying lots of cards, you're going to get some throwaway and cast-offs. But if they're selling postcards in their store, they've already went through this. Now, a lot of people say that they haven't listed or looked through them. I'll leave that up to the seller and the buyer to work that out. But I do see lots of postcards on there, and I do buy one once in a while when I see certain cards in there, especially when they lay them out and you can look at the cards and you'll find some that you want. So eBay is always a great place for postcards. Thanks for that comment, and hope that answered your question. So the next one, viewer comment, was great video. Thank you. I always love those comments. Wondering where you buy the soft sleeves for postcards. So the soft sleeves that I use currently is this right here. I'm not affiliated with this company at all, but I found that these were the best ones. These were Ultra Pro 100 sleeve. They're for standard 3.5 by 5.5 postcards. These come in a 3, an 11, 16 inch, 5 1/4 inch. They come in a 100 pack. They work fine. They're not the real gooey ones and stuff, but they're no PVC or acid free, ultra clear, and that's what I use. And I buy them by the thousands on there, because I go through a lot of them, and I get them for a pretty good price when you buy them at that point. I am working on a deal, trying to sign up for a postcard supply company to go wholesale to get some supplies and stuff like that in for postcards to sell in the store, and plus help reduce my costs, because I can get them at a lower price and I can pass that on to the buyers of those. But that's what I use for the sleeves. The next viewer comment was, Mark, thanks for great videos. Again, thank you for those comments. I'm learning so much. I'm glad to hear that. Do you reuse the sleeves with the SKU stickers and reassign the custom SKU to a newly listed card? No, I don't. Too complex. So every card, if you look at our inventory video, it'll explain how I use the inventory numbers and how I came to that point. In the beginning, it was very difficult. Do you sort them by town, state, how were you thinking that day? Stuff like that. And the best thing I always tell people is Boulder Dam. Is it in Nevada, Arizona? Is it Dam, D? Is it N? Is it A? So I came up with a inventory number, and every card has that. I don't reuse the SKU number. When it sells, I take this card out of this sleeve and I put it here, and then when I go to list cards, I'll print off like 60 labels, and that'll be the next SKU number. And I have a spreadsheet with all the postcards on there and the numbers, and that's what gives me the SKU number, so I do not reuse those. That's just too much work, too much chance of error. I didn't want to induce any more thing. When having over 20,000 cards, if I can't find a card, there's no way I can search and find that card in 20,000 cards in there. So I try to leave the human error out of it on there. So I don't reassign the number. It just can cause human error and complexity. So I just go to the next one. I think we're up in the 40,000 SKU numbers, and there's enough room on the custom label, but I put that SKU number in the custom label on Etsy and eBay, and when a card sells, I just go over the box and they're all in sequential order, and I know right where to find them. If I can't find them, then I can take the title and put it into my spreadsheet, and that'll tell me where it is. Maybe I transposed a number. I've seen that a few times with this. Also, you can look in your listings and sort it by date and see what other numbers that you listed that card around that time, and you can probably get to the right box and narrow it down. So, sort your listings by date listed, look for other cards around it, what SKU numbers, have a spreadsheet with that on there, or have your numbers in order. But you got to be disciplined about it. Once you get up to 1,000 cards or more, they all start looking the same. You don't want to have a defect. I said this in the other video, I bought tons of cards in the last month, single cards from $12 down. I've had 3 people out of all those cards had to cancel and refund and got a defect because they could not find the card. That's 3 people, let's say, out of 30 cards. That's a lot of defects. That's what's hurting. That can hurt the postcard buying from eBay on there. It hurts all the other sellers. It hurts the buyers. It raises the prices. People get, it's just not good to be out of stock if you can't find it. Now, these people didn't even contact me to say they didn't have it. They just refunded. If they would have talked to me, I would say, hey, I understand. What about this card? Or maybe they would have offered something. Hey, can you give me a couple more days to find it? I didn't get any of that. That's what I'm talking about, service. People get this sense of entitlement that they're a seller and the buyers are, I can just do this. Just talk to your buyers. Some people, you're not going to be able to talk to. They're just not sensible. But most of the time, people would be there. I just got an email that says, hey, a refund. And I had to go look and see which card I didn't get so I can go find another one. It just caused me more time, where if they would have contacted me, hey, take your time. I don't need this card right away. On there. It's going to hurt their shipping metrics, but at least they wouldn't get a defect. I would have maybe traded a card or something. So always work with the buyers on that. But those are the viewer comments. Keep leaving the comments below. It's exactly what I'm looking for on these videos. People can go out and look at them. I can share them. I learned as well. I've learned a lot of things just by doing these videos about postcards, and I've changed a few things that we do to make it even easier and less complex. So look at the cards I sold on Etsy. A lot of people, when they look at Etsy, they say, oh, it's too slow, I'm not going to sell anything. In the beginning, you're not. It takes a while on Etsy. Now, Etsy has a different fee structure than eBay. eBay has a store. I can put 50,000 cards, listings of postcards, in a premium store for $60. When I first started on eBay, I was paying $300 a month for 10,000 listings. So my first 100 or so cards, I didn't make any money because I was spending it on store charges. Then they came out last year and gave higher listings in the premium store. So I went from an anchor store down to a premium store. Right there I saved $240. First thing I did is I knocked my price of my cards down. I passed some of those savings back to the customer, to the buyer. I didn't leave my price up there. A lot of sellers won't do that. They did not do that. They just left their price up there and they made that savings, which is fine. But I felt an obligation. The reason I think I was at $4.95, I went down to $4.45 per card, is because I saved. And I wanted to pass that on. I wanted to be competitive, and I wanted to be a good seller. I was saving money. Buyers were saving money. I was a little bit more competitive with the price on there. Now with Etsy, they don't have a store. When you put a listing up, it's 20 cents for 4 months, and every 4 months you get hit with 20 cents. So if you go out there and you put 100 cards in one day on Etsy, you're going to pay $20, and then 4 months from now you're going to pay $20. 4 months from now you're going to pay $20. So if you're not selling cards, you're going to get hit with that. And that's what happened to me. Is I saw when I did a lot of batch listings on Etsy, because when you first start selling postcards, you can't list a lot on eBay. They give you 10 listings in a new store. If you start a new store, then next month you get 150. Then the next month you get 200. You got to build up. It takes 3 to 6 months to build up where you can put as many cards as you can list up there. So I was putting a lot on Etsy because they don't have those thresholds. And all of a sudden I get this, I'm negative. They pulled it from my checking account. I'm saying, what is this? So I don't list. I list about 10 to 15 cards a day on Etsy to keep it, keep a nice rolling 4 months. So you want to be careful on Etsy. They can get the fees. You want to understand the fees. They're different than eBay. But the cards that sold on Etsy today, this order for Diane was 2 cards. I get a lot of more multiple orders on Etsy than I do on eBay. A lot of people will search in the Etsy store. I don't raise my price in that store. It's the same price, $4.45 across all 3 stores on eBay, Etsy, or Hip, but you get different clientele. Some people will not buy from eBay. Some people don't even know about Etsy or HipPostcards. So I cover the 3 bases. But the first card that she bought is the Civic Center in Los Angeles, California. It's a linen card. That yellow in there is part of the card, but you can see the blue on the linen card. And it's an unposted card. It does have a little writing. It says 1934, which is right in line for the linen cards. But that's a nice card. There's really no problems with it. A little bit of wear on the edges, but not much. And then the next one is Woodward Avenue in Detroit, Michigan. Again, you can just tell from the blue that this linen card, but I can feel the right count on there. This is an unposted card. So she bought a card from Los Angeles, and she bought a card from Detroit, Michigan. And this is actually being sent to Agora Hills, California. So all over the board, but thanks Diane for the order. Now I don't know how many times I've said this in videos, but Disney sells. This is Disneyland in California. This is the Disneyland band. There's Mickey right there. There's the band going down Main Street. I think it's on Main Street, USA. The band's coming down. This is a Chrome card unposted. I do price the Disney cards up on there, but I sell Disney all the time. And I sold this card for $7.45 instead of $4.45, so I got $3 more just because it's part of Disney and it's a older Chrome card. So whenever you see Disney cards, you want to take a look and see what they're selling them for. But if you can get them for a good price, it's a better margin than the other cards, but they will sell. So Disney. Puerto Rico, Caribbean Islands, Alaska, all those, those are the main things I'm looking for when I'm going through cards. If I see a stack, if I'm going through an antique booth and they got boxes of them, and I see some Disneys in there, I'm going to stay in that box and see if I can find some more. But these older Disney cards they will sell. They're not high end, but they move. They put cash into your store. This actually was sold to Rebecca in Mojave Valley for $7.45, free shipping. And thanks a lot, Rebecca. Postcard selling is fun. Make sure you enjoy it. Once you get up to a good number of postcards, it's a nice steady, flow of cash coming in and out. Buying postcards and selling them. I sell postcards every day, all the time, every day. On there, I always got a postcard being sold sometime on there. I don't think there's been any days that I can remember for a long time that I didn't sell a postcard. But we went through the eBay postcards that were sold. You got a little view into the magazine ads that we sell and how we put those together and put them in a big mailer. Etsy, I sold 3 cards on there. Went through a term, went through some viewer comments, and also make sure you look for these embroidered postcards. They're really neat to have, sell, collect, trade. But this was a really detailed one. That's what you want to look for on there. They're very nice cards. Again, to continue for me to help you with learning about reselling postcards, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit the little bell icon to get notified. Check out our other videos. We got videos on scanning, packing, inventory. A lot of these sold type videos that go through the different types. I'm got a ton of videos coming on all different weird types of cards, different types of cards, not really weird, that you need to understand and look for when you're getting into the postcard world. We appreciate you watching and hope to catch